Woo, it's the Will Smith Genie, floating around looking like the Blue Meanie. Let the Fresh Prince lay down his latest track. I'm a rapping genie, but don't call me Shaq. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you done? I got a whole song to explain the wishes and answer all your questions. I only have one question. What year is it in Agrabah? Don't really know. Some people think it could be the apocalypse, but what I mean is, unless this is the early 2000s, Will Smith ain't rapping over any films nowadays. He's saying Wicca Wicca Wild Wild West. What's your wish? Can you get me 1 million subscribers? I'm a genie, not Jesus. I can't do miracles. Well, is it too late to stop Disney from making these live action films based on their animated classics? All of them except The Lion King. Damn it, that's the only one I wanted to stop. Okay, I wish Aladdin 2019 turned out good. Well, is Aladdin 2019 any good? What he said.
Aladdin is a film. Well, I mean, it was a film, and now it's a film again. There's a genie, a carpet, and a lamp. You know what Aladdin is.
There's really not a lot to say about this film. It's Aladdin. It feels like it. It looks like it. And that's probably the biggest compliment I can give the film. It looks and feels like Aladdin. But it also means it's a little bit boring and predictable, and by the end of it, it lost my interest. And I was left with the same question I have with a lot of these Disney films, which is, what's the point of remaking these movies? The music, probably one of the bigger elements of this. I would say it's mostly successful. There's a few slight alterations to some songs, and they even add a song which we'll get to. For the most part, they mostly work. We have our opening number, Arabian Nights, which I actually really enjoyed. Does a great job of setting up this world and this universe. We kind of zoom through all the settings of the movie and some of the characters, and I thought that was a very good way to get you into the world of the film. Other songs, One Jump Ahead, I didn't find that great. I think it's for a few reasons. For one, it just didn't sound as musical as the others compared to the original. Menem Masood, whose name I probably just butchered, the actor who plays Aladdin, he does a pretty good job in some cases, but I don't think his singing is great. I think he's a very charismatic lead, but I felt he was a little flat in the sequence, and I think the problem is that, you know, of course he's running around, so it really takes out of the world when he's just singing perfectly, obviously. But it's also the case that I thought the film was like ramping it up in speed and slowing it down to lip sync, and I realised the irony that I just put up a musical video during the week, so anyone can take a shot at my singing now, I guess, but I felt that as a result that one suffered a little bit. Big songs in the film as well, Prince Ali and Friend Like Me, these are both sung by Will Smith. What I mean by that is, Will Smith's not really singing. I mean, he's not rapping. It feels more like he's just being auto-tuned a lot, and the score is helping him along. But that being said, the songs I came back to in this movie to listen to again were all his songs, so it wasn't a big deal. I feel like it worked overall. A Whole New World, musically, this didn't really deliver for me. Masood, as I said, as Aladdin, I don't think he's a great singer. I don't think he carries up his part of the duet. Naomi Scott, on the other hand, nails her part, and not just this one. Musically, you could tell that she has experience as a singer. It doesn't feel like there's as much studio assistance there. She excels in this film, and especially when it comes to the musical elements, she's fantastic, and that's why it's such a welcome addition that she gets her own song, a song called Speechless, which is, I think, a good inclusion for both the character, and again, since it's so excellently performed, you can't really complain about the inclusion of it in the film. The romance in the film is also pretty good. I think they made a pretty big change here. They now Aladdin to meet Jasmine earlier during the opening scene. That I think actually a good idea, in theory at least. It gave the idea of these two leads a bit more chance to develop their love. I don't think it necessarily made the most of that though. It felt like, and I think this is a problem with the film overall, you're taking an hour and a half film and stretching it out into a film that's a bit over 2 hours. And because of that, with the romance angle, it felt like they threw a few extra bumps in the road in just to prolong it a bit. And that took me out of the romance angle a small bit. Now I will say, it's saved to a huge degree by the chemistry between the leads, which is genuinely pretty good. I would also say the big scene where they're meant to fall in love, A Whole New World, found that to be a bit underwhelming. I think the cinematography and the visuals, maybe if they were a bit more colourful, could have worked a lot better. But overall, the romance works. I just feel it could have been fleshed out a bit better. As for the other aspects of the film, Masood as Aladdin, I've said his name 3 different times now. I'm sure one of them will be right. He's very charismatic in the role. He might be a little bit wooden at times, but he's likable, he's charismatic, and that is what you need for your Aladdin. The Genie, Will Smith's role, which is what everyone was worrying about going to this, he's actually pretty good. You know, he's likable, he's charismatic and funny, which is what you need for this role. People are saying, oh, well, this is just Will Smith being Will Smith. I mean, Robin Williams as a Genie was basically Robin Williams. The film was built around the man, Robin Williams, more than the character. That was how they basically approached the film when they were making it. And Will Smith really makes the role his own, and I'm glad they went a different route than just copying what came before, and it does work overall. I was actually interested in the character more than I thought I'd be. There is times where he kind of feels like he's gone for a long stretch, but anytime he's there, he has your attention. He's very interesting. I will say they give him a romantic subplot. I didn't feel necessary. Thought it was kind of pointless, especially because the framing device of the movie kind of ruined any tension there, in my opinion. The effects on him are a little bit inconsistent as well. At times they're really good, other times they're not great. Another problem is that I didn't fully buy the chemistry between him and Aladdin. You know, especially not as much as the animated version. It felt like Genie didn't really care about Aladdin all that much, and then at the end they kind of forced that he does. It just didn't really work. But that aside, the Genie worked. Our other main lead, not male lead, definitely not, Naomi Scott as Jasmine, steals the show. She is really great in this movie. Aside from the musical performance, they give her more to do. They flesh out her character. Very well committed in that regard. She has a sort of a subplot where she hopes to be the first Sultan of Agrabah. Marwan Kenzari as Jafar didn't do much for me, to be honest. He didn't come off as that sinister. Just a very one-note character, in my opinion. And it's a shame because they should have tried to flesh that out a bit more. I think the problem is they took Iago away. Iago doesn't talk like he does in the animated version, and because of that he has no one to bounce off of. It's tougher for him to develop because of that. They also took the song away from him. The closest thing Jafar has to a song is he does a kind of a nasty reprisal of Prince Ali when he's being like, this is the real Aladdin. And they took that away from him. I felt that was also a bit of a blow to the character personally. Yeah, I just didn't connect to him. I really hoped, because I like Jafar, but I just don't think he did much for me. The Sultan is also very different to the animated version. Very forgettable as a result, I would say. Production design and the costumes of the movie are fantastic. They are one of the highlights of the film. I will say the cinematography, though, could have been a bit better. I think they should have tried to elevate it a bit more. The effects overall are decent. I felt like Abu and the carpet were maybe a little less in the movie, or maybe a bit more removed from this film, or at least that's what it felt like. But, you know, they were fine. Maybe just a little less interesting than they were in the animated version. Musical numbers. The highlight is probably A Friend Like Me, because it's so bombastic and over the top. And that works because you're trying to sell this musical aspect, and it was amazing in the animation because they could do such crazy things, and it felt like this was the closest they got to hitting that bar. Prince Ali was pretty good. It had a lot of dancing extras and that kind of thing, but I think, again, it could have been shot a bit better. I think this film in general suffers from a director mismatch. You know, this is a Guy Ritchie film, and you would never know it. And I don't know if it's just a case where he wanted to make the film and Disney made the film basically for him, or what, but it doesn't have any real style, which is rare for a Ritchie film. Even if you don't like his films, they have a certain visual or style or have something going for him. This one is very bland. I also thought the movie was badly paced. Opening the film, it was a bit too familiar to get me completely interested. Middle of the movie is the highlight. You know, that's where we get the Genie, some of the best musical numbers. Got very invested there. Last act, I was bored with. It was slightly different to the original one, but in an inferior way, in my opinion. And I was only, I was bored because the only thing I was really looking forward to about the ending was the kind of crazier elements, and they stripped all those away for a more bland climax, in my opinion. Changing it isn't an issue, but if you're going to change it, have something good there. It didn't feel like they did. Overall, I'd say the film is a mixed bag. Probably more towards positive, admittedly. There's elements that work. The Genie, Naomi Scott, most of the music, and effects, for the most part, work. And inclusions to the story that actually genuinely make it a better movie. And the stuff that doesn't work, in my opinion, Jafar, pacing, and a bland sense of direction. It lacks the charm of the original, but you could do much worse. It's at least harmless. It's if not entirely captivating. If you're familiar with the original, you might get a kick out of seeing some of this stuff adapted to live action. If you haven't seen the original, it might seem a lot fresher and more entertaining for you. And maybe you should check it out on those grounds alone.
Come on down, stop on by, hop a carriage and fly to another Arabian night.
Hey Genie, why was this movie not better? I thought you granted my wish. I ain't a real genie, bro. You were up in a teapot. Oh. Well, do you want a cup? Yeah, go on, I guess.